Good evening. You're watching the main news on HKIBC. I'm Raymond Yeung. Here are tonight's top stories. Inbound travelers at the airport now offered faster transport to quarantine hotels with designated taxi service. Franchise bus companies among businesses receiving maximum wage subsidies in May and June. People arriving in Hong Kong by air now have the choice of getting to the quarantine hotel by taxi. The service comes after many complained of long waits for the free coach transfer. Macy Mock reports.
While the government arranges free transport for inbound travelers to the quarantine hotel, they face a long wait, sometimes for hours. Those tired of waiting can now take a taxi at their own cost instead. Starting today, 100 designated taxis will be on call at the airport between 8 a.m. and 2 a.m. They can be identified by a green sticker on the window. Each taxi can take a maximum of 3 passengers and must use the back seats. These 2 cabbies are among the drivers who have joined the fleet. This driver brushed off health concerns, saying passengers who landed in Hong Kong have already passed multiple COVID tests. But as a precaution, all drivers have to wear protective gear and sanitize the cabin after each trip. On top of the fares they pick up from passengers, the government provides a subsidy of $1,500 each day. Transport Minister Lam Sai-hong said it was too early to tell how much public money will go into the scheme.
We have to react to the demand from the community on such taxi services, and we have heard quite a lot of noises from our community on this service. If required, we can engage more taxis to suit the demand.
One of the first customers was Hong Kong badminton coach Tim He, who returned from Taipei this afternoon. He said he previously had to wait for a long time for the coach to fill up passengers, and the trip involved detours at many hotels before arriving at his. In response, the Health Bureau has asked the operators to streamline the coach's schedule. Macy Mock, HKIBC.
The hospital authority is planning to step up COVID screening for staff as well as visitors at public hospitals. More staff could soon be asked to take a nucleic acid test twice per week, on top of daily RAT tests. The strict requirement currently only applies to high-risk frontline medics. There is no timetable yet on when the requirement will be implemented for visitors. Chief Manager Gladys Kwan said they will take reference from residential care homes. Hong Kong saw another 4,130 COVID cases today, 224 of which are imported. The Center for Health Protection also reported 3 additional deaths. Over $18 billion of wage subsidies were handed out in May and June under the government's employment support scheme. Hundreds of thousands of businesses benefit from the measure, including multinational firms. Joanna Ho reports.
To help businesses stay afloat during the 5th COVID wave, the government disbursed over $10 billion of wage subsidies in May. Around 153,000 employers benefited from the employment support scheme, ensuring the jobs of 1.3 million workers that month. But the amount dropped drastically the following month, with only around 135,000 employers applying for subsidies for 1.1 million workers. They received a total of $8.5 billion. Under the scheme, each company can seek subsidies for up to 1,000 employees. Full-time workers will get $8,000 each month and half the amount for part-timers. That translates to a maximum monthly subsidy of $8 million for each firm. Among them are homeware retail chain Japan Home Center and jeweler Lukfook Holdings. Restaurant chains Pizza Hut and Maxim's are also on the list. Franchised bus operators KMB, Citybus, and New World First Bus also backed $16 million each over 2 months. The full list of companies was published today. Authorities urged anyone to report suspected abuse or non-compliance of the scheme. Joanna Ho, HKIBC.
A public consultation has been launched for Chief Executive John Lee's first policy address.
My team and I are pleased to start a new chapter for Hong Kong with our fellow citizens.
Appearing in a promotional video with his principal officials, Lee invited the public to give their views on his maiden policy blueprint. 30 consultation sessions have been scheduled, and Lee also pledged to conduct district visits. The public can also submit views through social media. The policy address is set to be delivered on October 19th. It was a grim weekend for outdoor lovers following multiple reports of hikers collapsing under the heat. A physical education lecturer warned people who wish to swap hiking for water sports that there are still risks involved. Janice Low reports.
The very hot weather warning signal has been issued for 11 consecutive days, the fourth longest streak since it was introduced in 1999. As people in Hong Kong continue to get sun-kissed, the blazing heat took away the lives of 3 hikers over the weekend, when temperatures exceeded 36 degrees Celsius. Health and physical education lecturer at Education University, Lobo Louis, warned people who wish to go outdoors under the heat to be extra careful. That's especially after many had been stuck at home during the COVID pandemic, hampering their fitness level. He urged amateur hikers to settle for less challenging routes with less climbs. They should also plan exit routes before setting off.
Because climbing uphill and costs large amount of energy, particularly during hot weather. So maybe your body is not able to release the heat energy. So there may be an opportunity to suffer some heat-related illness.
Having teammates to look out for each other is also a good idea, he added. While taking a dip in the water may cool you down, Louis warned there are still risks of heat stroke for water sports. He reminded people to pay attention to signals from their body and seek help if they start to feel unwell. Janice Low, HKIBC.
Overseas, military leaders in Myanmar who took power in a coup last year have executed 4 pro-democracy activists, including political allies of the jailed democratic leader Aung San Suu Kyi. This marked the first executions in the country in decades.
For them, committing these kind of crimes in judicial or out of judicial doesn't matter. The main thing is they want to hold the power. They want to prove who is in power. They want to instill fear among us, especially the resistant groups and the general public. So they will do everything they can.
All 4 had been convicted of counter-terrorism laws behind closed-door trial. Family members were shocked to hear about their loss, as they were never notified about the military's decision. The executions received widespread criticism and concern, especially from ASEAN, the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, which has been trying to create a dialogue with the military regime. Pope Francis arrived in the Canadian city of Edmonton, kicking off the so-called Pilgrimage of Penance. The 85-year-old pontiff will offer an apology for the abuse of more than 150,000 Indigenous children by the Catholic Church.
I teared up, and I think it's just because I have such immense respect for him, particularly this Pope who is focused on reconciliation and understanding what's gone on here in Canada, and I think that that's of critical importance, and so I tremendously respect the fact that he's come here to Canada to try to heal some of those wounds.
The Pope was greeted by Prime Minister Justin Trudeau and other Indigenous leaders. He also apologized when Indigenous leaders visited the Vatican earlier this year. Many see the pontiff's trip to Canada as a bid to limit the fallout of the Catholic Church's image after reports of children in residential schools suffering abuse and even rape surfaced last year. Hong Kong stocks ended Monday with another loss as investors remain pessimistic over the global economic outlook. Now let's take a look at the markets. The Hang Seng ended the day down 46 points. To the top 10 active stocks, the tracker fund picked up 2 cents. Tencent was down $5.60, while Alibaba lost $2.50. Wuxi Biologics was down $2.95, while BYD lost $1.60. To the forex trading against the Hong Kong dollar, the euro's at 8.03, the pound sterling at 9.47, while the Australian dollar at 5.46. Over in Europe, the London FTSE is currently up 18 points. Finally, the weather. Tomorrow will be just like today, sunny and very hot. Temperatures will range between 30 and 36 degrees. Now let's take a look at the weather around the world. That's our main news for Monday night. Join us for more news at 11. I'm Raymond Yeung. Thanks for watching. Good night.